Hey Doll Owls, Mrs. Fowler here, and today I'm actually in my kitchen. And for this week's art hack, we're going to be making something called salt dough. Now, remember, if you've missed any of the art hacks and want to go back and check them out, you can always go back to one of the other pages on my webpage. I'd also love to see what you're creating and how you're using these hacks, so snap a picture, take a video, and email it to me. You can also use Google Voice and shoot me a text message. So back to this week's art hack, salt dough. I love this hack because it's great if you don't have things like clay or Play-Doh at home. It's something fun you can build with, and it dries just like a clay project that we would use at Dowel. Ready to learn this awesome hack? Let's get building and making. Okay, let's learn how to make the salt dough. You're gonna need a few ingredients. You're going to need flour, salt, a little bit of water, and food coloring. You'll also need a big bowl, some measuring cups, and a spoon to stir it all together. I'm going to start by using the dry ingredients first. So that would be the flour and the salt. You're going to need half of a cup of flour. So I'm going to scoop that out and then level off the top. Put that in the bowl, and now we're ready for some salt. I'm going to fill up a 1/4 cup of salt. See, artists use fractions too, not just in math. All right, that's good. Pour that into the bowl. I'm going to keep that same cup, and I'm going to fill it with water this time. Add that to the bowl, get your spoon, and start to mix. You're going to want to just kind of mix it together. It's not going to feel like you have enough liquid in there, but it's okay. You can always go back and add more. So just keep stirring and stirring and stirring until it kind of feels like pizza dough or cookie dough, something like that. All right. Looks like I'm done with my spoon, so I'm going to get that in my sink. And now I'm going to start using my hands to mix it together. This is called kneading. This will help you get the moisture spread around the salt and flour so it starts feeling more like dough. It looks like mine is a little dry, so I'm going to add a little splash of water just so it starts coming together. You can always add more water, but remember, you can't take it away. And we want this dough not to be sticky. So slowly add the water if you need to. Thank you. All right, gonna keep kneading that until the bowl is pretty clean. All right, get this bowl. Actually, I'm gonna work over the bowl. I'm gonna start mushing it together with my hands. It's probably good to stay over the top of the bowl so that way if it does start falling apart a little, you are staying pretty clean. All right, that feels really good. So you can work right with this salt dough. If you don't have food coloring, once it's hard and dry, you can color it with markers or paint it with watercolors. But I happen to have borrowed some food coloring from my sister. So if I have that, I can tear a piece off, maybe a little more. Roll it together into a ball. And then I can flatten it out. A little goes a long way with the food coloring, everyone. So I'm just going to take 2 or 3 drops, depending on how bright I want my color, and put it right into the middle of the dough. I like to fold it back over so that food coloring's in the middle, a taco. Now, if you don't want your fingers to get dyed, gloves would probably be a good thing to wear. But being an artist, I don't mind dirty hands. So I'm just going to start pulling that clay apart and smushing it back together. I can also roll it in my hand until the color is even on the whole thing. It's going to take a little bit of work, but that's half the fun. All right, I have my yellow all finished. I'm going to set that to the side and make another one. You can make as many colors as you'd like if you have food coloring, and you can also mix them, and I'll show you that in just a second. So now I have my two colors already mixed together here, but I'm feeling a little bummed that I don't have orange food coloring. What I can do, since these are primary colors, is I can mix them together. I don't want to use all of it because I still want some red and some yellow. So I'm going to pinch off a little piece of red and a little piece of yellow. Put these over to the side here. And I'm going to roll them into something called a coil. So basically a long snake. That one's ready. Get this one rolled into a coil. We want them to be about the same size. Don't make them too thin, but that looks good. So almost like my finger. Then what I can do to mix these two colors together is I start wrapping the coils together like so. Then I can start smushing and pulling to mix them together. If you like it all swirled, kind of like a tie-dye shirt, you can leave it like that, but my goal is really to mix them together to be one color. I'm gonna speed up the video and show you what it makes. So, as you can see, mixing red and yellow made this awesome orange. You can go about mixing the rest of your dough with the colors that you want or you have, but once I'm ready to build something, I like to get a piece of cardboard or something sturdier than a piece of paper to stick it onto. That way it will dry and we can keep our masterpiece. So you can build coils, you can stack these together, it's really up to you. But if I'm going to make something out of it, once I have the shape I like, I'm just gonna smush it onto the cardboard here. All right, boys and girls, as you can see, I have my artwork complete. I chose to do part of a rainbow, but you can really create anything you want. Mine's pretty flat. You could also make yours more three-dimensional. So if you wanted to shape this into a dinosaur or a bird, you could also do that. It's just gonna take a little bit longer to dry. So I'm gonna leave this here and I'm going to let it dry. This is going to get really hard and I can keep it for a long time. You wanna make sure that you're being gentle though, because it is fragile. It looks like the last thing I need to do is get cleaned up. So you probably noticed that I have a couple of Ziploc bags in my hand. I'm gonna take my leftover salt dough, put it away in a Ziploc bag to save for later. This will keep it from drying out, especially if you squeeze all the air out. And now I need to make sure I clean up the rest of my mess. So I'm gonna get everything put away. I hope you enjoyed this week's art hack and I can't wait to see what you create. I'll see you next time, everyone.